Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we got some fresh Final Fantasy XIV news to talk about. Now, while the launch of Dawntrail has been underway and we've been working on the story, maybe doing the extreme trials, leveling multiple jobs, whatever, everyone's also wondering about what's on the horizon. There's a lot of content that was talked about across the various fan festivals, and the release windows for some of those things are a little bit ambiguous, as are the pieces of content themselves and what they'll actually entail. Now, we don't have a whole lot to go off of, but Yoshi-P has actually had a few comments about these things at the recent Japan Expo. Now, Yoshi-P has been taking the stage, answering fan questions, and doing interviews while he's there, so I don't think this will be the last bit, but there was some exciting stuff that I wanted to talk about now as some of the news is still coming in. I'm going to be specifically sourcing Audrey over on Twitter at iTechKimochi, who many of you are very familiar with. A lot of you follow her on social and may have seen these posts already. So, without further ado, let's get into some of the things Yoshi-P has had to say at Japan Expo. Now, first and foremost, Yoshi-P talked briefly about Beastmaster. Now, he didn't have a release window, and he didn't have much to say about the job itself. He did, however, say that it's going to be a good deal different than the way Blue Mage was done, and that the team actually had a bit of a challenge imagining this content. He unfortunately didn't want to give too many hints about how the job would work. He just told people to, according to Audrey, hold on to whatever ideas they have, and it will be revealed in due time. It's worth noting that when Beastmaster was initially unveiled, they said it would be released in late Dawntrail. For those of you less familiar with Yoshi-P's wording, late would normally mean 0.45 or 0.55, somewhere in that range, or potentially one of the in-between patches, just sometime between 7.4 and the end of the expansion. So while we're probably more than a year, probably a year and a half at least, away from Beastmaster being introduced, at the very least, it's interesting to hear that it's a good deal different than Blue Mage. I'm personally still holding out for Pokemon-style battles and shiny hunting, but I think that I'm not going to get that. I would be shocked, even if there's maybe some hints that that might be happening in the game already. The next thing he had to say was in regards to the new exploration content. Now, we weren't really sure when to expect the next exploration content to come out, even though we did know it would be sometime in Dawntrail. Looking all the way back at Eureka, the initial one, Onimos, released in 4.25. But then looking forward to the Southern Front, it wasn't until 5.35. I don't know about you, but I'm usually a bit on the reserve side with my predictions, and I've definitely been guessing a 0.3x style release for the next exploration content. However, Yoshi-P has confirmed that they are done planning the next area, and it'll likely release in 7.2. Now, Audrey specifically says 7.2, more likely that it would be 7.2x. But that's some exciting news. That means that our relic grind is likely to come sooner. That means that the more large-scale content is expected to come sooner. And I think that we all really need that. You know, it's kind of already rough waiting for some of this stuff, knowing that it's going to be 19 to 38 weeks from the expansion's launch before we see even breadcrumbs of some of the things that we really want. So to know that at the very least it's in the earlier portion of the schedule, at least that's if it still comes out in 7.x. They're only aiming to release it in that window, that it's on the earlier side. He also said that they took the best parts of Bozia and Eureka and analyzed what didn't work to ensure an amazing experience for Final Fantasy fans. That's very interesting because Eureka has had a great longevity, one that's been much more natural for players trying to get into it, even though it definitely has its shortcomings. People definitely wish they could level their jobs in there, as opposed to its individual leveling system. There's no actual level sync while you're in there, so there's lots of flaws to the way the elemental leveling system actually works, even if Eureka survived a lot of patches and is still among one of the more played pieces of content. Bozia, on the other hand, being a leveling zone, has kind of given it some perpetual life, but things like Delubrum Regine, even on just the normal difficulty, have been kind of a struggle. And outside of big waves when people are trying to level jobs or prepare for the expansion like they were before Dawntrail, it's not always been the easiest to try to get through the actual questline and work on the relic. So I'm very curious to see what they determined to be the parts that didn't work, because a lot of things did work separately for both of them. I personally just hope we get another large-scale raid, 24 to 48 people on that Savage difficulty, on top of getting those one-on-one duels, because those were definitely my favorite parts of Bozia. I wouldn't mind if Eureka had a little bit more emphasis on the map exploration and better maps overall, which I definitely think was the advantage it had over Bozia and Zadnor. And the last thing I want to address isn't about any one particular piece of content, but there's actually some video recording of Yoshi-P answering this question, and I have a lot of things to say about this one. So according to @iTechKimochi, Yoshi-P says in a recent interview that he is indeed thinking about including a way where the Warrior of Light can be even closer with NPCs. He says, look forward to it. The full translation is the question saying, when can we become more than friends with the NPCs? Yoshi-P answers, this question gets asked now and then, and we do have to go with how the story plays out. For example, what if Estinian perhaps ends up on a different planet? I'm very happy there are NPCs where players have a strong affinity with, so perhaps we can consider making something where we can get even closer. Please look forward to it. I have my own thoughts about that. Obviously, I'm never against them introducing more types of content into the game. I think especially with games like Persona and other games like that one, building affinity with teammates has definitely been something that RPG fans have become more and more accustomed to over the years. And those personal quest lines that give you the option to really learn about a character and kind of express your own opinions about what they think and what they do are definitely something that, again, role-playing characters and role-playing players, I suppose, really look forward to. That being said, I can't help but be one of those people that sees this as, how do I put it? Not the greatest idea, and given I can hear Aloha yowling as I'm recording this, he might just agree. I feel like people already have a bit too close of an attachment with some characters, at least in their own head, and are very overly aggressive about the relationships that characters have with each other and or with themselves. Some of you know what I'm not saying and putting it very eloquently, and some of you may have no idea. And if you have no idea, consider yourself lucky. And if you know, I'm sorry to have to bring this into it, because let's be real, you give players the ability to not even date characters. Let's just say have just closer personal relationships, connections, friends, just being able to get closer to characters. We already know what it's going to be ruined for those of us who just kind of casually take it as an experience to learn. It's really unfortunate, but I think that we would be better off without things like this in Final Fantasy XIV, believe it or not. But that's just my opinion, and those are the three major statements that Audrey has had to post over on Twitter as of the recording of this video. If Yoshi-P makes any other really big statements in regards to release windows, upcoming content, you can be sure that I'll post a video about it here. And of course, if you follow Audrey on Twitter, then you can find it there, because that's where I'm sourcing it from anyway. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the news or if you have some opinions you want to share, be sure to do so in the comment section of the video below. Thank you again to Audrey for the post that she regularly does. You know, I've made a ton of videos off of the things she's translated, and I'm always grateful that she's really on top of the stuff that the Final Fantasy community, not just within 14, really want to hear and know and learn about. But thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. And until then, take care.